Well, it's time to head out. We're going down the hill, going to head back down to Ballarat. We're going to stop by the Radcliff mine, and Sparrow is going to tell us a little bit about it. It ought to be very interesting. Did I mention after the remnants of Hurricane Hilary came through, Sparrow was trapped up here for 61 days. Parts of the road were washed away. So he decided to take his own dozer and make his way down the hill. That's why parts of this road look freshly graded. His dozer's still sitting down at Ballarat. He said they'll bring it back up when he comes up next time. I don't know if you're looking off in the distance there down in that valley, but we are way up on this hill. It's hard to tell in the video, but we are pointed downhill. And we drove up this last night to get to Sparrow's mine. Yeah, that is Fort Irwin. Oh, the military base.
Oh yeah, Fort Irwin.
I've taken dozers, picked up dozers, personnel carriers.
Well, along the 15 there, that's
Yeah, that's the Marine
Corps Logistics Base.
Yeah, the DRMO.
Another name.
Yeah, and they got the
Nemo.
the stuff demo goes across the highway to the auction yard after they get whatever parts they want off of it, which usually is nothing.
Another trail down there.
that's our trail.
Oh, you know what it is.
Yeah. Here, Larry, shine this out the window.
Well, that's the trail we got to get down to, and then it goes down there and over there. You see that Jeep doesn't have good turn radius. He's got to make it on his own. But that's the valley we're heading into.
Let's see if we can make it one shot today. This little Jeep turns so darn sharp. Like following a worm, wiggling our way down the mountain.
That's Pleasant Canyon coming up there in front of us.
Oh, that was the pipe. I thought it was farther back, but that's the park boundary.
Yeah, well, that camper shell was just.
But it mostly happened after 1:30, because that's when the moon woke me up, shining right in the dang window like a big floodlight. And after it went away, though, then I saw a lot of stars.
I just slipped in these clothes. I had a bed already made up in there. 4 blankets on it. My own fresh pillow.
That rock's almost in the way, but not. 22-foot wide road. Rub-a-dub-dub. Rocking and rolling. That valley is the way out. Pretty interesting place. Oh, that one tried to hold us back.
Back in the early 1900s, there was almost a mine around every corner up here. Quite a lot of activity. We will be stopping shortly at the Radcliff mine, and I want to apologize in advance for my poor film quality.
All right, people.
76 to early 80s.
There was a cabin on this slab?
No, that was my shop.
That was a shop?
That was his shop. Out over there, I had my 57 Volkswagen bus with my welding rig and all my tools in it. All cleaned out, had a pipe hoist over it for your boiler, that was a powerhouse. That ran that was a 10-stamp mill there. You see what's left of the ball mill. Now, the reason it was there, which is on the wrong side of the canyon, because it's colder than shit in the winter and it's shaded. But there's 7 towers. It's 4,650 feet from the top to the bottom. And there were 76 500-pound ore buckets hanging on it.
Wow.
Wow.
And the brakes couldn't control it. So they took every other bucket off. Because if they got going too fast, the buckets would swing around the bowl wheels and tear everything out.
Oh.
And there's that tank on the ground that was above it, and that's how they got the water up there.
Oh.
They would send some water up because they had a lot of weight coming down and try to compensate because they had too much coming down, not enough going up.
Oh.
So that's how they hauled all their water up, because there was another camp up top. And there was 400 people here working this place.
And what was this place called then?
This was called the Radcliff Mine.
Radcliff?
Gold mine?
Yeah. And it actually was both. It was Ratcliffe and Radcliffe. And I don't know which way. One of them found it and sold it to the other one. I never get it straight. But and then they had the cookhouse. There was a little after that, what they called the adobe. It was a big cookhouse. And then that house with the chimney, that chimney was never no good. It was always, it didn't heat the house with the wind blowing the wrong way. Wow. And there was the mill, and below it all the paintings went there. And they did this milling, the stamp mill, before the cyanide process. So in the 30s, the Clares went and took all the cyanide stuff out of the world beater, which was one of the very first cyanide things ever put up in 1891.
We could smell the cyanide there yesterday.
Huh?
We could smell cyanide up there.
1891 cyanide process. I got all the cyanide tanks for powders and that thing from that operation. That was done by Montgomery. And anyway, so they went and they took an old Fordson tractor and they made a ramp that's still down there. And they used the tractor like a double drum slusher, like I got into the mine, to drag the bucket back and pull the dirt up the ramp into the back of that truck you see laying up the road in the wash.
Yeah.
It's a Model A Ford with a 6-cylinder Chevy engine in it. And it doesn't have a dump unit. It was weighted so you latched it forward, and then when you filled it, you put more dirt in the back. And you released it, and it dumped. And they'd back up they had big round tanks there, the cyanide tanks. You'd back up them ramps, you see, and dump the shit in the tanks, the agitators.
Yeah.
That would stir it up where you added the cyanide. Then they had a whipping tank, that big round one there had a propeller that really whip it up into a froth. And then they had little buildings down there, there's still a little bit of it left.
Yeah.
They built sheds and they put all the zinc, the tanks that held the zinc plates that they ran the cyanide through. And so they re-ran all that stuff that wasn't cyanided. The guy up the way, when they did the stamp mill up there, they went right to cyanide.
What was the zinc for? Sacrificial metal?
Yes, it grabs up the gold.
Oh.
Then they go smelt it off.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't want to be upwind or downwind of when it's smelting.
Grandpa Clare fell in the sucker one day.
Yeah.
And they were strong cyanide. This ain't like the low-grade bleach plants they do now. And they ripped him out of there, ripped his clothes off, and they had a hose going on him. And they said he was quivering, but he didn't die. And I got a lot of stories about the stuff that happened here from my father-in-law who lived here, Jim Clare. Horace James Clare. He told me I used to play down there where the old assay shed was, and the kids always used to call him Horse's Ass because it's Horace, you know. And they had a picture, they carved on a donkey on the wall, Horse's ass on it down there. I found it. He told me about it. And in 1902, there was a flood, took everything out they had down by the wash. When I got here, that adobe, the building was all there, and that's where they had dinner, and they had a wash house there. And they had they built like a boiler of an old tank, welded four 4 pieces of 2-inch pipe in it and put a car wheel under it and light a fire under it and heat it up, and that was the bathhouse. Everybody go there and take a hot shower, and that was the adobe they used for a cookhouse. It had a big room, and they were all musically inclined. They had piano and all their instruments in there, and they had carbide lamps all through it.
They had the stove still
Huh?
used to. The stove was in the adobe when I first came up here. The
Part of it.
Yeah, part of it.
That stove came around the horn.
Oh, really? That came around the horn.
It was already missing pieces when I got here. I would have had it in my house.
That was a big ass stove, though. That was not a. It was a commercial grade.
And then on the
stove.
left, where there's another foundation there, that was a blacksmith shop.
Well,
I
left
got a
of the
really
bottom,
neat picture of all of it.
Left of
It
the
was
bottom.
taken from up there, panoramic. And it shows the whole place, and the lumber's fresh.
Oh,
And it showed it all set up. When it was just front, it was proud, and you could see the tram cables going all the way to the top. There's another bull wheel. The bull wheel was recently disappeared. It was 12 or 14 foot diameter. It sat on that. When the cars came down, they went around it and went back up. They dumped it. And everybody goes, oh, we gotta check them. They used that just shit tailings to put some weight in it when they wanted to make the tram haul some shit up. They had to put something in it, so that was their power. Or you could put dirt in the buckets and the thing would go.
Oh. The tram, the buckets are still on the upper cable, and you can see them.
There's still a couple?
Yeah, you
Because
can see them.
when Echo was here, them guys, they had the helicopter haul.
Yeah, they took this one out, but the upper
And
one.
then they took some stuff out of the world, all the old equipment. I screwed up and didn't get the Widowmaker out of the 3rd level that was way deep in there. There was an old Widowmaker left in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and actually there was one of them was laid out apart, perfect, like just ready to put back together. And it had wire wound over the rubber hoses. Oh, it was a beast. That's why I didn't drive. I'm telling you, it was a beast. No water, Widowmaker. So that was turn of the century. And there was candle boxes in the top. It was a candlestick mine. 1912 started carbide. That was in the candles. And
Yeah,
then
they would've
when
had
when the electric
With a
lamp.
pick, you know, with a little hook they stuck the candle into.
Yeah.
The other day on our way up, we stopped here and we took some pictures of the ball mill, and we were looking around trying to figure out what different things did. And we kind of figured that one tank over there must have been for the cyanide process, where they dump the powder in and stir it up. Had an agitator in it.
My favorite book on mining this book is called Deep Enough. And it was about this guy, and you need to read that book. Deep Enough. Now, I forgot the author's name. I'll give it to you. And this guy worked in Death Valley when Death Valley was, happening. And there's pictures of him. He had the early Caterpillar tractor before. It was just a Holt. It wasn't Caterpillar yet. And they didn't know if it was going to turn worth a shit. And the early tractors had a big old extension on the front with a wheel. They weren't a dozer, they were meant to pull shit.
Oh.
And the engine, the Holt engine, is what put it together, and it was the 75 horse engine. And that guy had I'd seen all these pictures of that guy, and he put a bunch of stuff together in Death Valley, and the Clares told me that they took this old 32 Ford truck, and they drove all the way down, went over the bottom one, Goler, and into Death Valley, and they got that 50-ton ball mill, was at an abandoned mill. Well, the Clares, they wouldn't have stolen it.
Right.
They said it was there, it was left, nobody was there, no mill site was papers or nothing. And they went over there and they got that Holt engine and that 50-ton mill, and they brought it up here all the way around on that truck. And he said when we got up there, got under it, we had a bolt missing on one of the U-joints. He
Oh.
said we had pipe and shit up and down past the doors, and if that sucker would have let go, it would have been curtains, you know, because they couldn't have got out. He even jumped out of the truck, and they hauled all that shit clear around and got that. But I'm thinking that ball mill and that whole engine was from that guy in that book that had that neat equipment, because this old buzzard that owned that place with the shitty water,
Oh, in
there's a place down there, the water's shit. That was like a little town, and this guy had a mine, and he had a pile of gold. And he went and loaded the gold up in a wagon with his burros pulling it, and headed out in the heat, and never made it. And they went and found him, and the dead burros, and the wagon, but they never told what happened to the gold in the wagon. And then you see him driving around on this new Holt tractor back when these things, before they even, so you know, even if this is brand new high-tech shit in the day, and this man wound up, and his pictures, most of his pictures that he'd taken, and he had some neat ones in the book, got lost in the flood down in San Bernardino where he was living.
Oh, wow.
And he later wound up being one of Roosevelt's key engineers in World War II. And he wrote this book called Deep Enough, and it tells the story of him coming out. He was working in Nevada, hand drilling, working in mines, and it was all about how deep are you going to drill the hole, and it was deep enough. That's the title of the book, and it's all about drilling and mining. I love the book. I'm fixing to go read it again because the spots I forget. But anyway, I believe that's part of the history of that book in Death Valley. If you read it, I bet I would give it to Mike. I bet that book will blow his mind.
Oh yeah.
Well, the guy down there in the white hat, Sparrow is his name. He's been giving us a guided tour of this mine. He worked here as a young man in his 20s. Quite a bit of history we've been learning today.
You can kind of make out the cable from the tram in some of these pictures.
Well, there's a parade. Plus, I think his actually have some candle power too. Mine are like a dead sea cell.
Flashlight?
They got a vehicle somewhere.
Nice and green in through here with all the water running out of the ground. If it grows too much more, you have to bushwhack your way through to find a road. Well, our trip here is coming to a close. We got a few more miles of this road to do before we get back to Ballarat. We originally come over here for a one-night stay, 2 days of exploration. It turned into a 2-night stay in 3 days, and it's because of Dave and Sparrow here in front of us. We run into them the morning of our second day, and it's been an incredible adventure following them around and listening to their expertise on this area. And there's some pretty damn good views around here. I mean, look at these canyon walls. Yeah, I think at some point somebody's going to have to come up here and do a little bushwhacking. Kind of open this up a little bit more.
Long walk back. They eat all their snacks now. They'll clean out the goodies that Ryle ate when they get back.
Yeah, Dave's trying to make a little drainage ditch for the water to get off the road with his front wheel. Seems to be working.
Going up.
Well, to all those that followed along this adventure, thank you. Give us a comment. Tell us what you think about it.
Okay.
Hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Either way, let us know what you think.
Little ditch I can get.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how close to that little ditch I can get.
Is it Thanksgiving week? Is that a holiday?
I don't know.
And the kids out of school and stuff?
Some places probably.
Homeschool.
here.
Look at how fucking high we still are.
Yeah, and looking over that, you get the old pucker strings a going, let me tell you.
Yeah, just look how dusty it is down below. Kind of looks overcast, but it's all wind-blown dust.
Yeah, and you can see where he bladed this with his dozer.
So if he had an angle blade, it would fill this stuff in, huh?
Yeah, he could sweep material side to side. If you run out of material on the right, you can angle your blade back to the left and bring some back, you know?
That was hydraulic adjustments.
Yeah. The new ones. The old ones, you had to back up and pull some pins and push it around, pin it back. It was manual.
You ever watch the guy who was a cutting edge, something out of Australia?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that guy, he does work for a lot of mines.
Yeah.
Some cool shit.
That's the kind of machining work I did. All repair stuff.
Thanks for following along. Hit that thumbs up and the subscribe button if you don't mind.